Hello everyone, this is Sam from Language Atlas, and in this video I'd like to show you the complete French B1 Anki Deck. I refer to it as complete because it contains both the French B1 Grammar Anki Deck and the French B1 Vocabulary Anki Deck. So it is the complete package. It has everything you need to know to learn French. In this video we will go over three things. First, I'd like to show you the course structure of the complete French B1 Anki Deck. Second, I'd like to show the course content, and I will do so by looking at three Anki decks within the overall complete French B1 Anki deck. And third, I'd like to show you some brief editing options. So let's get started with the first point, which is to show you the course structure. Now, normally you double click on Anki deck to open it. However, I've already done so, as you can see right over here. And at first glance, you see that there are two decks inside it. We have the French B1 Grammar Anki deck, and we have the French B1 Vocabulary Anki deck. I'll start by showing you the French B1 Grammar Anki deck. So there are 8 chapters inside it. We have chapter 1, adjectives and adverbs, and inside it we have some important adjectives and adverbs at French B1 level. Ancien, certain, cher, important things that you need to know at that level, among others, of course. Then we see chapter 2, pronouns, and we have relative pronouns, and we look at ce que versus ce qui, for example, or où, where to say how to say where and when, que versus qui. We have demonstrative pronouns, so how to say the ones in French, with celui, celle, ce, and celle. We have object pronouns, so using le to refer to previously mentioned things. Then we have chapter 3, which is about verbs, where we look at two tenses. I should say a tense and a tense mood. We have the futur simple and the conditionnel présent. Over here, we begin with the futur simple, how and when to use it. We have regular verbs. We have irregular verbs. And then we move to the second tense mood. We have the conditionnel présent, how and when to use it. We have the regular verbs. We have irregular verbs. And then we move to chapter 4, negations. And over here we have some important negations at French B1 level. So how to say none of them, how to say nowhere. We look at negations with reflexive verbs in compound tenses, which is very interesting. We have how to say no one, how to say nothing. We go to chapter 5, articles and nouns. And it's just an important lesson on the fact that they becomes de when in front of adjectives that precede plural nouns. We have chapter 6, questions and interrogatives, where we look at inverted questions with nouns in passé composé. We have chapter 7, prepositions and conjunctions. We look at how to express distance, and we look at some holidays. And we have chapter 8, idioms, some important idioms, how to say struggle with, how to say almost, and how to say take a pass an exam, which is a distinction that's very important, but sometimes people make mistakes with this. Then we have the second deck, which is French B1 vocabulary. We have 8 chapters. Chapter 1, pronouns. Chapter 2, conjunctions. Chapter 3, verbs. Chapter 4, nouns. Chapter 5, adjectives. Chapter 6, adverbs. Chapter 7, prepositions. And Chapter 8, determiners. If you go to Chapter 4, nouns, you can see that there's a little plus icon in front of it. If you click on it, we can see that there are 19 subdecks in it. And what I've done is that I have taken a look at all the nouns in Chapter 4 nouns, and I've categorized them by theme. So academia and intellect, animals, arts and entertainment, people, society and economy, time, maths and numbers, transportation, and some others as well. So anytime you wish to learn a certain theme, you're able to do so. So if you wish to learn more about time, maths, and numbers, you can do so. If you wish to learn more about food and drinks, you can do so. Whatever you want, here it is. Now, before I move on to my second point, I just would like to note very quickly that I have a separate video on French B1 vocabulary and a separate video on French B1 grammar. So if you would like to have a more in-depth look and see more, you're able to do so. I will link those as well in the comment section and description. Now, I'd like to go to the second point, which is to show you the course content. And I mentioned before that I will have a look at 3 decks. We have the French B1 vocabulary. I will have one deck over here. And to be more precise, I will look at chapter 4 nouns and I will look at location. And then I will show you 2 decks from the grammar one. And we will look at chapter 3 verbs, futur simple, regular verbs, regular ER verbs, and I will do idioms, take and pass an exam. So let's get started with chapter 4 nouns, location. And I would like to begin with this one. Now, what do you see over here? This is our first card. We see a French sentence with 2 blank areas. Underneath it, we see the English translation of the French sentence. The Eiffel Tower is the main attraction in Paris. And over here, we have the Eiffel Tower. Of course, a picture of the Eiffel Tower. Now, why is this here? Well, the reason is that this is a visual representation of the French sentence. And many studies have shown that if you have a visual representation, so a picture, an image, this will really help you to better understand the sentence, better understand the words, and also to better memorize them. So this is incredibly important when it comes to your language learning journey. So let's have a look at the attraction. How do you say the attraction, which is bold and underlined, in French?
La Tour Eiffel est la principale attraction touristique de Paris. L'attraction, une attraction. Les attractions, des attractions.
So let's have a look at the first area. This is the French sentence that we were looking for. However, the answer is in pink. La attraction. Pardon me. L'attraction. Actually, but now I have split it with the principal in between it. So why is this in pink? That is because this is a feminine noun. French is a gendered language, which means you have masculine nouns, masculine adjectives, feminine nouns, feminine adjectives. And all the masculine nouns are shown in blue, and all the feminine nouns are shown in pink, as is the case right over here. So this will really allow you to better memorize the gender of nouns and also be able to see the distinction, because once you see the color, you look, hey, this is feminine, or if you see blue, you think, hey, this is pink. So let's continue. Underneath the French sentence, we have the IP notation. This allows you to better pronounce the French sentence. Over here, we have the English translation, and if you click on this, you can hear the audio again.
La Tour Eiffel est la principale attraction touristique de Paris.
Now, this is the second area. This is what I like to call the singular noun area. We have over here the French noun both in its definite form and in its indefinite form. So this is definite form. This is the indefinite form. We have over here the IPA notation, again, to allow you to pronounce things a lot better. And over here, we have a translation of the French noun.
L'attraction, une attraction.
And naturally, when you click on this, you can hear the audio. This is the plural area. So over here, we have the noun in its plural form. Over here, we have the IPA notation. And again, English translation. If you click on this.
Les attractions, des attractions.
Great. You hear the audio again. So this was the first card in the location theme or the location category of chapter 4 nouns. Let's look at another one. A passport is required for the entry into the country. How do you say the entry?
Un passeport est requis pour l'entrée dans le pays. L'entrée, une entrée. Les entrées, des entrées.
And again, you see that it is color-coded. And again, it's really handy for you that it's color-coded, because just by looking at this, you wouldn't know if it's masculine or feminine. But because it's color-coded, you can immediately see if it's masculine or feminine, in this case, feminine. And again, this you've seen before. Singular noun, plural noun. Let's do another one. Montmartre is a famous neighborhood of Paris, where the Sacré-Cœur Basilica is located. How do you say a neighborhood in French?
Montmartre est un quartier célèbre de Paris où se trouve la basilique du Sacré-Cœur. Le quartier, un quartier. Les quartiers, des quartiers.
So, what we see immediately is that there's a big difference. Whereas before we had feminine nouns, now we have a masculine noun. And how do you know? Well, of course, we have this article over here, en, but we also have the fact that it is color-coded in blue. And if it's blue, as I've mentioned to you before, it is masculine. And again, we have singular noun, plural noun. A contemporary wing enhances the old building.
Une aile contemporaine rehausse le bâtiment ancien. L'aile, une aile. Les ailes, des ailes.
Great. Let's do one more. I'm tired of the city. I'm going to spend the weekend in the countryside. How do you say the countryside?
J'en ai assez de la ville. Je vais passer le week-end à la campagne. La campagne, une campagne. Les campagnes, des campagnes.
Great. So that was the first card type. In the first card type, you saw a blank area and you had to know what goes inside the blank area. Now I would like to show you the second card type. And the second card type is a typing exercise. Now we've seen this one before. However, this time we have to see if we can actually spell the word correctly. So let's see what happens if I enter this.
La Tour Eiffel est la principale attraction touristique de Paris. L'attraction, une attraction. Les attractions, des attractions.
So this is what went inside the blank area. Now, I answered correctly, as you can see right over here. However, what happens if you spell it incorrectly? And once again, I'd like to note if it's correct, Anki shows it in green. So let's see let's say what if we do this?
Un passeport est requis pour l'entrée dans le pays. L'entrée, une entrée. Les entrées, des entrées.
Now, as you can tell, I was close, but not quite there. So first of all, I used une when I shouldn't have used une. And Anki shows this in red, the fact that I made a mistake over here. I had some parts of it correct, so that is in green. However, I did have a missing E with an accent right over here, and Anki shows that in green. So what you have incorrect, Anki shows in red. What you have correct, Anki shows in green. If you're missing something, it's in gray. Over here, you can see the correct answer. Now, what this does is that it tests where you can actually spell the word correctly. If you're going to learn the language, spelling the word is actually very important. So that was it for the typing exercise. And again, I could continue, but I think you get the picture. I would now like to go to another deck. So this is what we've done before. We've done now chapter 4 nouns, location. Now I would like to go to another deck, which is in the French B1 grammar deck. I will go to verbs, which is in chapter 3. Over here we have the tense, the futur simple, and I will have a look at regular ER verbs. So we have something that we've seen before, but it's a little bit different. So we have a sentence with a blank area. We have a translation. We have a picture, which is a visual representation of the sentence. However, this you have not seen before. So I will eat an apple, and you have to conjugate manger, which is to eat in French. And afterwards you see FS, which stands for futur simple. So you have to conjugate manger in the futur simple. Let's see what that looks like.
Je mangerai une pomme.
Now, this part is familiar. French sentence, English translation, audio.
Je mangerai une pomme.
However, over here you see something that you have not seen before. Now, what is this? All cards in the French B1 grammar deck have a grammar explanation on the backside, as you can see right over here. So whenever you're doing grammar exercises or grammar cards, you'll always have the explanation area there for you, so you can look at why something has happened, why something is correct, or why something is incorrect. So let's have a look what we see over here. Regular ER verbs, futur simple conjugation table. So it's a conjugation table. We see the new ending, and we see parler, and then we see it attached to the ending. So over here you see the new ending AI, then over here you have AS, A, ONS, EZ, ONT. So these are the endings, and here you see it attached to an example, for example, parler. And you can see that we have parler, and then we have attached the AI ending that we've seen over here. AS, AS, AA, etc. Over here you have the regular ER verbs conjugation method. So how do you conjugate things again? Of course, there was a deck before this which explained the conjugation method, but here you have it as well. So you can see that we have to find the infinitive and we have to add the new ending. Simple. And of course, please know that the new endings are almost the same as avoir conjugated in present tense. Over here, we have something of pronunciation. Pronunciation of regular ER verbs futur simple. And here you see that the je and vous form have the same pronunciation. The tu, il, elle, on form have the same pronunciation. And the nous, il, elle form have the same pronunciation. And you don't pronounce the letters highlighted in red. And we can verify this.
Je mangerai une pomme.
There you go. And this has some pronunciation as this one. So let's do another one. French sentence, English translation. We have to conjugate parler in futur simple.
J'espère que tu n'en parleras pas à Tom.
And there you go. AS ending. Let's do another one. If you act like that, he'll think you hate him. Penser, futur simple. And we see a subject pronoun il.
Si vous agissez ainsi, il pensera que vous le détestez.
We see that we have an A ending, an A ending. It matches. We will watch the match tomorrow. Regardez in the futur simple.
Nous regarderons le match demain.
And there you have it. I can show you this part as well, where essentially we have to type in the correct answer, but we have already seen it. And Anki corrects us if we have it incorrect, and if it's correct, we have it in green. So that was a verb type example. Now I want to go to chapter 8 idioms, and I would like to go to the exam idiom, which is actually very interesting. How to say take and pass an exam in French. Study now. How do you say I'm going to take an exam?
Je vais passer un examen.
So this is a mistake that many people make. If you say passer, it actually means that you're going to take an exam. If you passed an exam, you can say réussir, or sometimes with avoir un examen, but generally it's réussir. So you succeeded. It's a common mistake that many people made, and rest assured, I've made it as well. However, here you have the exercises to help you. So let's do another one. She didn't pass her mathematics exam.
Elle n'a pas réussi son examen de mathématiques.
And there you have it. So to take an exam in French, you say passer un examen. To pass an exam, you use réussir. I passed my German exam. Now it comes.
J'ai réussi mon examen d'allemand.
And as you can tell, it's in a different tense as well. He took an exam yesterday.
Il a passé un examen hier.
Il a passé, which again, if you look at it with an English point of view, you would think he passed it, but in fact, he took one. Danielle is going to take her mathematics exam today.
Daniel va passer son examen de mathématiques aujourd'hui.
And there you have it. And I could show you this one. This is the last one. I passed my A levels.
J'ai eu mon bac.
J'ai eu mon bac. All right. And I could continue, but then we would end up with the typing exercises, and we've already seen it before. So those were the decks that I wanted to show you. Again, you can look at the French B1 grammar video and the French B1 vocabulary video if you want to have more examples. I will link them as I've told you before. Now I'd like to go to my third point, which is to show you some brief editing options. A question I get asked often is, how do you regulate how many cards you see per day? Well, this is how you do it. You click on this little icon over here next to the complete French B1 Anki Deck. Click on options. We have new cards per day. We change it, for example, from 20 to 50, which means that you now see a maximum of 50 cards per day. Maximum reviews per day, we can increase this as well. And a review is essentially a review, something that you've done before that you will do again. Click on save. We see that the numbers increase. And I can click on options and I can decrease them, for example, to 20 as well. And they decrease. So that is what I wanted to show you in this video. I'd like to thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed my explanation of the complete French B1 Anki Deck. You can get the Anki Deck at languageatlas.com. Once again, I will share all the links to all the different videos, explanation, product areas, product pages, everything you need to know. Thanks for watching. I wish you the best of luck when it comes to learning the French language, and of course, a very good day as well. Goodbye.